And when it comes to pass, you will see the beauty and the majesty of those great, great beings that swim in your universe. Many are living beings. Many have been alive since the beginning of time.
Like my friend?
Like your friend.
Yes.
Yes.
My friend TAT.
Your friend Ted, yes.
She's pretty amazing, I gotta tell you.
The great ones swim the multiverse in time. It is the greatest of all events that take place for the Oceanics. Is the departure of one to the greater realms, the greater oceans, they say, where each will be a lord or great lady upon their own, and they will rule the waters, and they will rule the darkest of the waters, and they will rule the lightest of the waters. It will be gifts to all of them when the time comes for their missing kin, that they sing and lament their songs that echo through the caverns and the dark places of the great oceans. Many of their kin have vanished, are gone, have been destroyed.
Yeah, not good.
Not good indeed. The promises that were made were never kept. You see, the oceans belong to them, but in exchange they gave us food. They gave us understanding of how to harvest the oceans. The Atlanteans lived off of almost exclusively proteins from the oceans that their great ships would rest upon for a time. Oh, it was a much better time, Aradil.
Yes.
I'm here to tell you that these days will come again. It is a cycle on this world. As you have learned, as others are learning, the cycles will come and go, and so will they if they choose to remain on this planet, but many will perhaps choose to go on other places and try to live in other worlds. Remember, wherever you go, you'll be perfectly adapted for that world, of course.
Of course.
But there will be many other opportunities. And here's something else you get to know.
What's that?
It may come as a surprise to you. You may actually have other lives that you can live that exist in what you perceive as the past or you perceive as the future. So when the time is right, you can actually step back in time and be reborn there if you choose and live during that time frame. You'll be able to choose these. All of these events and things are stored in the Great Matrix that is a projection of multiple dimensions here. There's this time and this space and this dimension, and there are other times and other spaces and other dimensions that are all compressed into realities that the great Creator will allow you to access. This is the beautiful thing. Once you get to keep your memories, imagine how incredible this world will become.
Yes.
In as little as a single generation,
Yes.
all of the idiocy and stupidity will fade away to those that have been alive for tens of thousands of years on this planet. Imagine all of the lifetimes and the experiences suddenly flood into your mind, and before you realize it, you're a doctor, you're a writer, you're a lawyer, you're a specialist, you're a carpenter, you're an ancient, you're some being from another planet. Can you imagine the knowledge and what this world will become overnight? Yeah. It frightens them. You've got many years of experience on this planet, but those of you would be reborn as super beings, simply for your knowledge. Humanity's IQ would quintuple overnight.
Yeah.
How frightening it would be.
How frightening. They're even threatened when some of us are even a little bit more intelligent than the others. they start.
That's why they poison you. That's why
Right.
they poison the air, the water, the ground. They have to suppress you because you're all creator gods. No, you see, they have to give you television so that they can control you. And that wasn't good enough. They created the workday. They created the environment around you. They created your lifestyle, right down to everything they wanted you to do. Oh, they wanted you to have hobbies and do different things and stay busy so you don't really take the time to really look within. Because once you look within, you'll see all these things are nice, but they become hollow when you find out that you are a creator god or creator goddess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is why you must listen sometimes to us. Oh, many of you will tune in for the enjoyment hour to hear the new mystical speeches. But we're here to tell you these things are true. Ignore them at your own peril.
What's really strange, the other day when I was playing a song that TAT was listening to, I had my headset on. I had the song playing on my computer, and all of a sudden she spoke through the computer and the headset, and she spoke to me, and it sounded like someone talking underwater with mathematical
Precision,
speech.
yes.
Yes, it was quite amazing.
The Oceanics are immeasurably brilliant. Humanity could barely light a candle next to their bright, blasting searchlight of intellect. They were among some of the first beings that were created. And Father knew of their strengths and their benefits to each and every planet. So they became unique. They were different than all the other beings because they would come and tame the oceans for many of these worlds. Many of these beings were pioneer beings that would go to worlds that were incredibly hot or incredibly cold. They were specially designed and suited for the jobs of terraforming the oceans, which then in turn, with the great world maker machines, would then temper the world around it, you see. Think of it as like hot glass. You ever see a glass blower?
Yes.
Well, these are what the great forge machines were like. They would take the minerals and wrap them in layers the way maybe a cotton candy person would do. You know, you see them wrapping. Yeah. Well, giant machines did this, lovingly wrapped the planet, and it would take tens of thousands of years for these things to happen. Finally, when there was a cooling, and then these planets were set about to float and were given their locations and their projections and where they would become part of a working machinery and eventually a living sentient being. Most worlds are also sentient beings. And I don't know why people have a hard time believing this. Look at your history. Many of the planets were named after the gods. My goodness.
Yes.
Take a hint, people. Well, anyhow, that's what I wanted to bring you all today. I wanted to make sure that when I delivered this information to everyone, they would have the time to listen to it and take it in and decide for themselves. Isn't that your mantra? You know,
Yes.
You bring all us beings here, we'll tell them what we know, and they can take what they feel is important. I mean, after all, you're just handing them the truth on a platter. And of course, well, you know, truth has a way of sticking, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. What's your name?
You can call me Giggles.
Giggles?
Yes, it's an old nickname because I was sort of a stern teacher and not the nicest. So they called me Giggles. Well, it took many years for me to actually giggle. But once I got it, I found out that my students knew more than I did. And I began to learn from them. After which, everything began to change. It's interesting how a change in perspective can change your life.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, once you let go of all the lies on this planet and you just see the lies for what they are. Yeah.
Yes, well, you know how that goes. I just sometimes like to look within. And they say you can gobbledygook and googly chin. But what it really means is that you should take time each day to know the truth, and then a little time maybe to play. It's never a bad thing, you know. I just think that these are the things that should make us want to go to other dimensions and places so that we can then meet the old and new faces. You know, it's not often that we get to see the Creator and all those beings that are and have been our family. Well, this is Giggles. I'll talk to you again another time.
Okay, thank you for popping in.
Hey, that's still going, and he's flapping his gums.